Hello and thanks for watching. Today I'll be interviewing former professional footballer Jim Conway, who also happens to be my granddad. Jim Conway was a Scotland schoolboy international, playing in the same team as football legend Denis Law. He then became one of the youngest ever players to play for Celtic in 1957 at the age of 17. He came under the influence of Jock Stein, who would become the dominant figure in Scottish football for 2 decades. Jim left Celtic and transferred to Norwich City in 1961. After 2 successful seasons, he moved on to play for Southend United, Partick Thistle and Portadown FC in Northern Ireland. At Portadown, Jim broke the club's goal-scoring record in 1967. In 1968, he moved to Bolton Wanderers, where he stayed as coach and chief scout for 13 years. He later managed the St Vincent national football team in the Caribbean in 1999 and set up his own soccer school, Jim Conway Soccer School, in his adopted hometown of Bolton. Subsequently, he worked for the Press Association, covering games at Bury FC and Bolton Wanderers. He is now retired and plays golf twice a week, and I'm so delighted that he's here with me today so that I can interview him and find out more about his wonderful career. Grandad, let's start by asking what your earliest memories of playing football were growing up.
Oh, my earliest memories really go back to just the completion of the Second World War, when 1945-46, when myself and two of my friends used to try and play football either on the road, and if we couldn't get on the road, we'd play in an area that was covered in rocks where buildings had been demolished. It must have helped us in some way or other to improve our ball skills, but that was one of my earlier recollections.
And were your family interested and supportive of your football?
I think like an awful lot of families in situations then, I don't think football was very important because there wasn't an awful lot of food available for families, and there weren't many houses available for families. So I think parents tried to keep a tab on what the youngsters were doing, but as long as they were out and they could be seen, they were usually quite happy.
And as we said, you went to Celtic at 17 years of age. What was it like to be a young footballer at the time?
Thinking back, it was rather strange because it just didn't seem real. It didn't seem real that I should be sort of playing for Glasgow Celtic when I was 17 years of age, meeting up with stars of that period, you know, and welcoming me to it was fantastic. Didn't seem real, but they made me very welcome, and none more so than Jock Stein. He took me over, and my first meeting with him was at Celtic Park. Manager John McGorry had said to him, "Look, we've got a new young player here. Can you look after him? Take him to Ferrari's." Ferrari's being the restaurant in Glasgow where the players dined every day. Oh yeah, right. Now, that was a period of time where there weren't too many cars around football grounds. The manager had one and the chairman had one, nobody else. No, I think Bobby Evans had one, who was a businessman as well as a player. But Jock says, "Okay Jim, come on with me," and walked across the car park at Celtic Park onto London Road and got on the not the bus, but the
Tram?
the tram car. And that took us into Glasgow, and in the meantime Jock just told me all about Celtic, and he made it real, and it was great with me.
And so you explain your great relationship with Jock Stein. Describe what it was also like to play in the first team at such a young age. Describe the crowds, the atmosphere at Celtic Park.
I think I was lucky because I seem to be able to sort of blank these things out. I mean, playing in the first team was one thing, and I felt overexcited or anything like that. I seemed to be able to cope with it. Even I think the first time I played against Rangers, it was an exciting time, but not over exciting. But I remember the first time I played against Rangers, I remember coming home from training and my mother said to me, "Have you got a game this weekend, Jim?" I said, "Oh yeah, yeah. Who is it?" "It's Rangers." And her face dropped. "Is it the reserves?" I said, "No, it's the first team." Oh, it wasn't joyous. It was just one of those situations where it was a big occasion. There was occasionally troubles with the fans, and she didn't want me to be involved in any way, and it was memorable, that reaction, you know.
Can you give us a sense of the rivalry between Celtic and Rangers?
Sense of the... Well, it I don't suppose it was unique, but it was certainly definitely there, despite the fact that the Celtic and Rangers players, away from the game, they would mix. They would go on maybe a social occasion or maybe an interview in the radio or an interview with. So they would go and they would meet up, and they got on generally very well. Some didn't go on and never would go on, you know. But on the whole, they got on quite well, and there wasn't a problem. So we just got on and did our best.
Very good. And what was your first wage? Obviously now you see that Gareth Bale's been offered £1 million a week to play in China. What was the first wage that you received being a professional footballer?
I think my first wage as a professional was £7 a week. £7 a week, that's right. I was part-time at the time. I think 2 years later I became a full-time player, and I think I was getting £10 a week. So it wasn't big money, but it was big money for me. I mean, I was leaving an apprenticeship where I was getting £2.10, £2.50 it was then, £2.50 a week. So it was really, you know,
it was a big increase.
Big increase.
And what do you think of the way football has gone now and the huge increase in salaries? Do you think it's a good thing?
Well, I have to be very careful here because I was very fortunate, because I was able to be one of the early ones who benefited from the maximum wage being abolished. That was around about 1961. There used to be an unofficial sort of cap. Well, I think it was official, but it was about £20 a week for the top players, and then the maximum was abolished. And I was able to go and was transferred to Norwich for £25 a week, and that was good money then. So I'd be loath to sort of criticise people for demanding or getting what they get. Good luck to them. I say it's up to the clubs to control their own money.
So in 1961, you and Grandma moved from your native Scotland to Norwich in England. How was that move?
Well, it was a period of time where I enjoyed. I just met your grandmother, and we weren't married, and she was at a good job in Glasgow, and after about a year we got engaged, and a year later we got married. So it was probably about 1963 when we moved south. It was great. It was a great experience. I loved Norwich. I thought it was a great place to play football because it was well supported, the club. It was a nice stadium there, though it's changed quite a bit since, I believe. But it was, and the people were very, very nice. So I really thoroughly enjoyed it. And Well, not in many ways, but in some ways it was different from Glasgow.
What were those differences?
No, playing in Norwich was much more relaxing. A lot of travel involved, but because I was single, it wasn't a problem. I enjoyed seeing all England all over the place. So that was a bonus for me, not only to sort of play, but also to see the country.
And after Norwich, you played for 3 different clubs in quite quick succession in 5 years. How did these moves come about?
Well, my contract was up at Norwich after 2 years. I had a 2-year contract, and then I think it was just at the time where they were still trying to sort of manage the new contracts, and a lot of people, myself included, weren't too familiar just precisely what happened. So I had a contract for 2 years, and then I think I had an alternative for another year. I wasn't entirely happy because I wasn't getting an increase in salary for the second contract. So I think it was a period of about 3 months where you got paid the same amount of money as you had been earning, but then after that you got nothing. So you were free, and so that was a situation that there was always a club come along each time at the right time, and I increased my salary from £25 a week to £27 a week when I went to Southend. So that was part of the motivation, get an extra couple of pounds.
You moved to Portadown and broke the club's goal scoring record in 1967. Describe what it was like to be a footballer in Northern Ireland.
Well, it was certainly a new experience, and I think it was good that I'd played not only at Celtic but at Norwich and Southend, who are much smaller clubs. But it doesn't matter whether there's 50,000 and there 5,000, and those fans are behind you, you hear them, and they give you great support. So it was different each time, but it was still enjoyable, very enjoyable. So can't complain on it.
Why did you eventually settle in Bolton in 1968? What was it about Bolton that made you think I'll stay here?
I don't think I knew too much about Bolton at the time, apart from the fact that Bolton Wanderers were a renowned team, and one of my heroes was Nat Lofthouse. When I was a young lad, Nat featured in most football magazines, so he was a bit of a hero of mine. And when I met him and was offered the job, it was great for me. Also, we were married and we had a family at this stage, and my wife and I decided that well, no more changing where to settle down, because the children would be grown up and going to school. So we decided then that we would stay in the area, because there was plenty of other clubs around if it didn't work out at Bolton. So that was really, we moved around, and it was good education, but there came a point where we definitely decided no more moves.
No more. And mentioning Bolton Wanderers, are you saddened to see the plight of Bolton Wanderers at the moment?
Very sad, because I mean, over the past 50 years, I suppose they've had bits of trouble, but I would have hoped that they'd maybe learned from it and not got themselves into the same difficulty. But then, I suppose if the owner changes regularly, anything can happen. Very sad about it. Very sad for the fans, because they're very, very loyal, and it won't do them good.
In 1999, you made the exciting and perhaps unconventional move to the Caribbean to manage the St Vincent national football team. Just give us a sense of what it was like to move to the Caribbean, to work in the Caribbean.
Well, first of all, it came about because I had been seeking jobs in England, in Scotland, anywhere really, and I was having no luck at all, and managed to get in touch with a contact, and he put me in touch with good influential person in the Caribbean, and within a week or two I was offered the job at a reasonable salary. I decided, well, my wife and I decided that, you know, I'd go on my own, and it worked out. We'll see what happened. It was a completely new experience for me. Sounded all very, very attractive, you know, the sun and all the rest of it. But it was an experience about the standard of football and the management, and not so much the standard of football, but the management of football, both on the football playing side and the behind in the office, so to put it.
So we have had a slight change of scenery due to the rain, but we're going to continue with my interview with Grandad. Grandad, do you have any regrets of any choices you made in your career?
Good question. No, I don't think so. I think by and large I gave careful consideration to each move, and they didn't all work out as well as I'd hoped, but I've no regrets. Good experience. I've played with some great clubs, played with some great players, and I really enjoyed my football career.
What was the most enjoyable part of your career?
Well, being an ex-Celtic player is something that I appreciate very much. I'd like to have made a full career there, but it wasn't to be. When I had numerous opportunities to move to various clubs, and I was very happy to move and enjoy my spell at Norwich. So on the whole, no, I enjoyed doing the football career, and you know, met some great people.
What is it you are most proud of? Which part of your career is it that you are?
Well, I think the fact that I became a footballer is probably the proudest thing, because I dreamed and dreamed and dreamed about becoming a footballer. But it was just a dream as far as I was concerned. A young lad, like thousands, millions more young players. And it happened very, very quickly. I signed from an amateur team to a junior club in Scotland, which is semi-professional, and within months I was being linked with various senior professional clubs. It was all whirlwind in many ways. So it was great. There was all these ups and downs. That's life. No regrets at all.
No regrets. And do you still enjoy watching the game today? How do you think it's different?
Well, I don't see too much football now, because I had been involved right up to about 2 years ago when I did work for the Professional Footballers Association. I wasn't enjoying it as much as previous times. I think I'm not sure what I dislike about the current situation, but I'm not so keen to watch it. And I'm not even bothered if I watch it on television either. But I like to keep in touch with the team's performance, most of the club's performances, and see any new clubs going on, or new players. New players is the thing that I'm interested in. I like to hear how the new players, new products from England, and I wish there were a few more from Scotland coming through, but that may happen. That kind of thing interests me, rather than clubs, watching clubs and seeing how they're doing. As the individual players are more interested in that.
And are you impressed with what you see? Do you see some good new players coming through?
Having said I don't see so much of them, that would be wrong of me to say that, well, you know, there's a lot of talent around. Watching the national teams suggests that there is quite a bit of talent around, and hopefully that is the case. But I'm not seeing so much of it, so I'll have to wait and see if I can see any more.
Well, that is all my questions for Grandad. Thank you so much for joining me. on the interview, and I'm certainly very proud of you,
Oh,
Grandad.
it's a pleasure. Thank you very much.
And make sure to tune in next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.